Hi, guys, and welcome to the horror room. You'll have to excuse me this week. I'm getting a little sick, so my voice is kind of here and there. Um, Now, I just tried to make this video yesterday, um, but turns out it was a little bit too long to edit into parts because I used my phone to record. I was going to show you, but I'm recording this on my phone. Um, so, I used to have a channel on YouTube called The Horror Room, and I've shared that in the past. It went pretty long, but I ended up losing the password and whatever. Um, there's my cat Kissy. What are you doing? Huh? Don't think about jumping on there. Um, so yeah, I had this old channel. I thought about bringing the videos over here, but I said, it's not worth all that effort when you guys can just go to the old channel and watch it. But yeah, so I used to do this thing on that channel called Remakes versus Originals, where I would talk about different movies and the remakes that came out for them. Um, and I was like, I really want to keep going with that series because there's a lot of remakes and originals that I haven't like compared that I thought would be interesting. One of them that I eventually want to do is the Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is going to be similar to the last video I did on my channel for those because the last ones I did was like Black Christmas, Black Xmas, and Black Christmas. But yeah, I'm not going to do that one immediately or anytime soon. So I thought I would start with a movie that I've never seen either version of, and I know that it's usually categorized in the extreme category, and that is Martyrs. Yeah, the original movie that came out in 2008 in France. It actually came out on September 3rd, which is my birthday. Not 2008, though, of course. Um, and then the remake came out in like January 22nd of 2016. So about eight years later. But the remake was made by, well, not made by, but at least released by Blumhouse Tilt, which I'd never heard of, but I looked into it, and they've helped release things like Green Inferno, Unfriended 2. So yeah, it's kind of a weird side company, I guess, or maybe like when they were just starting. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to talk about the original mainly, and then I'm going to tell you some things that were different in the remake, and then tell you which one I prefer, which one I would recommend you watch. There was a lot of things I had to write down note wise. Let me find that. Okay. So the movie follows our main character Lucy and her friend Anna. At the beginning of the movie, we're talking about the original right now. At the beginning of the movie, we see Lucy running away from like a building, a big like factory building. She's all cut up and bruised and stuff, and she gets to this orphanage, and they take her in. She starts to develop a friendship with Anna, and it's right off the bat, just from like seeing the way that like all the suffering that this child's endured, it's really heartbreaking and bleak. But you get to see that these two are developing a friendship. Um, she says there's like the monsters after her, and oh, I'm dropping everything. Hold on, I gotta get a drink. So she finds her like all like messed up, and she's like, it's okay, nobody's gonna hurt you anymore, I'm here for you, blah blah blah. That kind of downplays it a little bit, but it is good. So then we cut to 15 years later, and Lucy has tracked down the family, or a family, that was involved in this. I'm guessing the main guy that was torturing her, him and his family. Now, this is the most awkward family ever because, like, during breakfast, the mom, like, comes in from, like, digging in the yard, like, in, like, a sewer drain or something like that. And she's, like, dangling a dead mouse in front of her kid's face. Like, who does that? That's pretty gross. Um, And then they're talking about how the son is like dropped out of school, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to become a lawyer or something like that." And they're just like everyone, not just his sister. They're like all riffing on him, and it's like these guys are kind of jerks. But then there's a knock at the door. The dad goes to answer, and it's Lucy. And boom, immediately shotguns the dude. And then the wife comes to check on him. Boom, she gets a shotgun too. Uh, the daughter runs upstairs, and the son is trying to leave, but she tells him to sit down. She's like, "Do you know what your parents did?" Um, and he's just stunned. He doesn't know what to do. And then she just shoots him. I think it's implied, like he's like kind of looking at them and at her, and he's like realizing it's that person. But they don't outright say that he knows. Um, so yeah, she brutally executes him, and then she goes upstairs and stands on the bed and waits for the daughter to crawl out and start running away. She's really slow with loading the ammo too, which gives them some time to escape. Which it's like, okay, you probably should have practiced that a little more. Um, so she kills the daughter, and then she calls Anna, who's waiting near a payphone, because this is back when payphones were still relevant. Um, and she's like, "Yeah, I found him." And she's like, "Are you sure it's them?" And she's like, "I'm sure. I took care of it." And she's like, "Well, what do you mean? I'm on my way." And then as Anna's heading over, we see this creature that keeps going after Lucy attack again, and she's like cutting her back up and everything. Now this creature is kind of a manifest of survivor's guilt, because when she escaped this facility, she had the chance to save someone else, and she said like, "Hey, I'll come back. I'll send help," or something like that, and ran away. And of course, when they came back to with the police or whoever to find that kid, everything was gone. So um, basically, she's fighting off this manifestation, and Anna comes in. Anna, it's never clear whether Anna can see it or not, but I'm assuming that she can't. Um, they do that in the remake, and it's more obvious that she's seeing it, she's hallucinating it. So I don't like that aspect. That's the only thing I'll touch on for the remake right now. But so it's later on, and Anna's helping care for her and clean her up and trying to figure out what to do. And they hear she hears something, and she goes to investigate, and it's the mother. The mother's still alive, and she's like, "Oh, I'll help get you to the woods, but after that, you're on your own." And they're trying to be super quiet, but Lucy comes down and starts bashing the mother in the head with a hammer, and it is super wow, like it's super intense. It looks real. Like they even at one point show her head caving in when the hammer hits. It's like, oh my god. Um, and she, gets mad at her friend. She's like, "You were trying to help her. What about me?" And she sees the creature kind of crawling towards the top of the stairs, and she's telling it like, "I did it. I killed them. I even killed the children." And the creature just looks like it's still coming after her. And they end up outside, and she's like, "It's not gonna let me go. It's never gonna leave me alone." And she unalives herself in Minecraft, for lack of a better term. I mean, there is a better term, but YouTube won't let me say it. So yeah, then Anna is left alone with her friend, and um, she's investigating the house. I think she's trying to clean up the evidence and stuff. Um, and then she finds a ladder leading into the basement, and she goes down there, and there's a emaciated woman that's like naked and cut up, and she's wearing this like, I want to say it's like a death row helmet, like the metal ones with the straps. It's like covering her eyes and the top of her head, but it's not just covering it. It's like industrial strength stapled into her skull. Um, so she brings this lady upstairs, puts her in a tub, and starts crowbarring. Oh God! Starts crowbarring these staples out of her head, and then she just yanks the fucking helmet off of her head, and her skin comes with it, and it's like, oh my God! It was so crazy. And I'm just like, put this poor woman out of her misery. She doesn't want to be alive. um, so after that, the organization ends up showing up. Oh well, after she's trying to help this woman's running around the house, smacking her head on things and rubbing her face against the walls. Like she's clearly not well. She's in pain, and the Anna's trying to help her, and she like pushes her away, and then all of a sudden she gets shot through the head and drops dead. And that's when the organization that's been doing this to Lucy comes in, and the leader, known as Mademoiselle, she takes Anna and she shows her pictures of like the people, um, like the look in their eyes when they're near death, and that they've seen what lies beyond death. That's the whole point of this experimentation, is pushing the boundaries of these women to put them on the brink of death so they can see what comes after and tell us. Um, so I found that scene to be very disturbing. I don't know if these were real photos of like victims, or people with these mental problems due to like war or car crashes or anything like that. But if they were not real photos, like those were some damn good actors, because the look in their eyes was just like super disturbing. Um, so then they decide that they're going to kidnap Anna, and Anna's going to be the new guinea pig. And they start torturing her. And when I say torture, I'm not talking like hostile, I'm talking like physical abuse. It was hard to watch. Like, their stunt choreography must have been very damn fine, because I legitimately thought this woman was being punched and slapped and at one point kneed in the face, and it just was like, oh my God. And there's no like fake cartoon sound effects for punches. Like, it doesn't sound like Mortal Kombat. It's rough. And like, I'm thinking like, how would she still have all her teeth after all this? Um, Even just simple acts like feeding her are very forceful. They're like grabbing her head and shoving the spoon and like dumping the water into her face. Um, they give her a haircut and they're like yanking on it. Like, I thought they were gonna pull it out, but they're just grabbing clumps of it and snipping. Um, and you can tell that not just the physical abuse, but the demeaning nature that they're treating her. And it's not like they're, spitting on her or like calling her names or anything. They're doing it like they are, working in like a hospital or something. They're just, I mean, they're doing a little more rough. You don't go around, oh, look, it's patient number 4. Bam! And um so yeah, even like when they're cleaning her up, there's like a part where the woman like cleans her piss and shit bucket that's underneath the chair she sits in, and then she goes and gives her a sponge bath, and it's like, I've never seen a sponge look so abrasive. The way they're dragging it across her face and her skin. Um, and even after she's all cleaned up, her nose and her eyes are like black, and her nose is like so swollen. It's it's so depressing, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like what else can they do to Anna? And I wish we hadn't asked, because a lady comes in and she says, it's almost over. We have one more thing to do. And by God, they do the thing. So a doctor surgically removes all of her skin except for her face. So picture her face on like degloved Hellraiser Julia body. And this chick is being just, held in place. And of course, um, they go down to feed her, and the lady screams, and she like calls up Mademoiselle, and she's like, it's in her eyes. I can tell. She's seen it. She's still alive. So they gather up all the people, and Mademoiselle leans in, and like she's talking to her. We can't hear what she's saying, but obviously something. Well, it's up to interpretation more so. But before that, we see like the look in her eyes, and it zooms in, and it's kind of like a swirling mist. Like the only thing I can compare it to is like when you go into the tunnel in Donnie Darko, the tunnels that or the portals. I mean, it's not exactly like that shimmering type of effect, but it gives you the same vibes. There's a lot of white light, so um, now you could just say this is her mind breaking, and like she's just like repressed, like trying to repress everything she's going through. Um, but I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment for did she see something? Did she, especially with the ending? Because after she tells Mademoiselle, they're having this meeting, and the guy's like, she's gonna come tell us what Anna saw, and we're gonna finally know. So he goes and knocks on the bathroom door where Mademoiselle's in there. She's taking her eyelashes off, her wig, removing her makeup, and you know, she's like, "Can you imagine what comes after death?" And he's like, "No, like that's the whole point. We're here." Uh, yeah. So time's a wasting. But she asks it again. He's like, What are you talking about? What do you mean?" And she goes, "Keep doubting." And she Call of Duties herself there. Um, so the movie leaves you with some very bleak feelings. It's very sad, very tragic, but it's not. Oh, I mean, it is gratuitous in its violence, but it does have a story. It does have things that you think about long after the movie's over, not just, oh, remember when that chick's head got ripped open? Um, like it's kind of sad, and then it like shows you footage of when she was a kid with her friend, and it leaves you kind of like, damn, like was it all for nothing? Did she find peace? Like, are these fuckers gonna pay? Who knows? So after watching the original French version, I decided to watch the US remake. First thing I noticed off the bat was the part with the kids in the beginning. Very stiff acting. Um, Not as heartfelt and believable as the original. Um, and then they try to make Knick Knack Paddywhack a thing. Like, okay, I get it. They're at a Catholic school. They wouldn't be singing, Gangsta's Paradise or something like that. But Knick Knack Paddywhack, okay. In 2008. In 2008. No, 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 no. This was 2016. Even worse. Even worse. But it is Blumhouse. So the family scene is a little more interesting because the dad talks about, hey, I need you to help me downstairs to the son. And he says, oh, mom told me to clean my room. He's like, well, after you're done. He's like, why don't you make my sister do it? And he's like, because I love her more. So it kind of implies that the children are at least aware of what their parents are doing, but they don't care because they've got such, this lavish lifestyle, or they're just, so self-absorbed or absorbed that they don't care. Or maybe they're in agreement with what they're doing because they're like, yeah, we want to know what's after death too. Um, so everything from that point, like the family getting shotgunned and everything, that happens as normal. Um, Lucy doesn't die in this one. She does try to escape by falling over the balcony and falling down, to the first floor. but it doesn't work, and she's, sat on the couch for a little while. So Anna has to go clean the house and, destroy the evidence. The one thing that's different in this, too, is also the family, instead of being just tossed in the bathtub, there's a big ditch outside where the mom was working. Thankfully, she didn't dangle a dead mouse in front of her kids in this one. But there's like a big open ditch with like a couple sewer pipes leading out of it. Um, so she dumps the family's bodies in the ditch. And then when she's looking for cleaning supplies, she finds like the secret wall, and there's the ladder leading into the basement. Hold on, my throat. And instead of finding, a nightmarish combination of metal and flesh, she finds a little girl, and I'm like, ooh, this is gonna get dark, isn't it? But she leaves, go gets keys, comes back, and they get out of the house. I think they have to go upstairs and climb out a window because the people are breaking in. There's like an orchard or like something around their house. I'm assuming because it's like a farm kind of. And they're trying to escape, but they end up getting caught. Now, I can't remember if the kid gets shot and killed or she just gets captured too and they just don't show her anymore. I was kind of like really tired by that point that I was watching both of these movies back to back on Tubi with commercials. So it turned what was like an hour and a half to like 2.5 hours. So anyways, they don't get tortured. Well, I mean, Anna doesn't get tortured because now that they got their prize pig back, Lucy, she's getting tortured off camera. So we only hear her screaming, blah, blah, blah. And now that they have her back, they don't have any use for Anna. They show her the pictures again. I think it's all the same stories. She's like, well, go bury her with the family. So they put her in the ditch, and they're about to scoop the dirt on her. She crawls into one of the tunnels and hides there. Then we cut back to Lucy, and she's being strapped to the table. So you're like, oh my god, here we go. They're going to, turn her into Inside Out Man. But the doctor tries to make like tic-tac-toe boards on her back like a million times. And she's got like the ugliest scream. I gotta say, I know when you're in pain and you're screaming, and especially like my voice is going hoarse, I probably don't sound the best. But she's like, it's so awful. And then on top of that, the doctor peels her skin back like it's a fucking fruit roll-up. So we get through that, and I'm like, oh man, that's pretty brutal. But then when we cut back to her, she's wearing like a white sheet, like a blanket or something, with a little bit of blood on it. But you can tell her skin is still on. So I'm like, okay. So the doctor just, filleted her back, and, that was enough. But Anna ends up getting out of the ditch. She kills a couple of the big, strong guards that are like 2 or 3 times her size, which you'd think they could just be like, and knock her out. She gets in this room, and there's like a priest overdoing things. And the priest, which caught me off guard, I recognized him. He was one of the forensic guys in Poughkeepsie Tapes. Near the end of the movie, when they're talking about, if this goes into theaters, he's going to go to every single screening he can. That guy. He was the priest, and he's like, oh, she's seen it, the look in her eyes. We can't pull her down now. And Anna's like, put her down, because they got her like strapped up. And then Anna goes over there, and Lucy whispers in her ear, and the priest says, oh, I heard it, I overheard it, and he GoldenEye 007's himself. And then I don't think she kills anybody else in the room. You thought she was going to unload and go, John Wick on everyone. But she only had one gun. But then Anna lays her head next to Lucy, and Lucy's got that. Her eyes are rolled back in her head like the Undertaker. And then she lays her head down, and she does the same thing. So I'm like, okay, so does this only drive certain people to want to kill themselves? Does it drive other people crazy? It was very unclear in the fact that, like, it wasn't an immediate effect after she told her. Like, she didn't start going, like, Tim and Eric, bedtime story eyes. Um, yeah, it was just very weird. And then it tries to, bring in the footage of when they're kids and, like, I wish I could fly on a cloud. Okay, is that what happens after you die? You just get a fucking cloud to roll around on? Wow. So needless to say, I think the remake was absolutely missing the point of the original. Um, and it really toned down the gore. I mean, not that you need it, but it definitely puts you in a better sense of the despair and, like, the lengths that these people are willing to go to find their truth out. So without any of that extra, like, brutal stuff, um, I don't know. It just feels a little, like, bland, like stock, cable TV movie of the week type. Um, so I would definitely recommend, if you can stomach the original, I would say watch the original. I will say it's one of the better extreme movies that I've seen, in terms of a plot and not just, sensory overload. Yes, it's gonna make you sad. It's gonna leave you, like, feeling just like, but it's at least artistic in the way it does it. The remake, though, not too good, and it's not surprising because it's Blumhouse. I actually recently watched another Blumhouse remake, Speak No Evil, and it's a similar thing. They kind of toned down the ending and the themes of the movie, to give it a more wide appeal. I don't know how you wide appeal Martyrs, but I guess they tried. But I watched the remake. I haven't seen the original of Speak No Evil. James McAvoy, he's good. But I do eventually want to watch the remake, and I'll do a video about those two in the future, kind of compare and contrast those. Um, but yeah, other than it taking forever to watch both these movies and me having to re-record this video, I had a good time with the original Martyrs. The remake, not so much. I would say, most people shit on remakes. This is one that I think actually deserves it because it adds nothing. It actually takes things away, and it's not confident enough in what it's trying to say. So, oh gosh, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Sorry this was a bit of a longer video. I don't know when I'll do a remake versus original again. I'll have to find some movies that I think are really. My cat just knocked over some tapes. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.